This temple right behind me is sort of being engulfed by a tree, and it looks absolutely incredible. There was one of those things, like coatimundis, those little long-nosed like raccoon things. Super friendly. I think it just wanted food. It thought I had food, so it was coming right up to me. Hello from Cozumel, Mexico. This is way later than, like, months after our previous trip down here, because we are on a cruise on the Harmony of the Seas, and this is the first real stop that we were really looking forward to. And we're here at San Giorgio. That's probably not the actual name. I'll make sure to put it on the bottom, but it's a Mayan ruins here. It's an Atlas Obscura site, and it decided to be a torrential downpour while we were driving out here. I am completely soaked. We decided to pull off here while we're driving back to the ruins at the first little ruin site that we saw, and it's apparently an old little cenote, which I actually didn't know they had actually on the island.
Oh, a waterfall.
It's a pretty.
It's really gorgeous from over here.
And there wouldn't be that waterfall if it hadn't been the rain, so.
So they did that for us?
Yeah, it did that for us. Definitely seems like it would be a little dangerous to climb down in there, but we jokingly always say that the gods are looking out for us when we come to these ancient sites, because the weather is always perfect when we arrive. Even though on our way here, I mean, it was a torrential downpour. Couldn't even see out the front of the car. I'm completely soaked head to toe. But now that we're here, nice, bright, sunny skies for us to explore the ruins, and it's pretty freaking awesome. This site I did less research for than I typically do when we are traveling, because it was on an island. I actually thought it was going to be maybe just a small temple or shrine or something like that to the gods. But that's not the case. This was actually a large, massive city, just like all the other ones you see all through the Yucatan. And it's actually a later Mayan city. It's not, say, as old as Coba or anything like that. It would be more around the time of Tulum. It started at around 200 CE and went on to pretty much the same time as the fall of all the other Mayan cities, around 1600 CE. And most of the ruins we're seeing around the site are going to be from the later period of that, from pretty much 1000 to 1600 CE. The first station you see when you walk in, first area, was purely a ceremonial, sacrificial area. There was actually no building here. It was purely a platform. And then directly behind it is your first, I guess you can say, temple. They call it, I think, the Temple of the Little Hands, because there are red handprints that are still visible on some of the walls, and I'm sure there would have been a lot more back in their time. That actually has a little temple inside of the outer walls, which they aren't certain what the temple was for, but they believe it could have either been a temple or it could have either also been a house for the ruler of Cozumel. We're doing a little circuit around this before heading in. I will give the warning that this site, like I said, is a much larger site than I expected, and it will probably take you an hour and a half to 2 hours to actually wander through this entire place. So give yourself some time, and good luck with the weather. So I'm heading on back here to follow my mom and my sister back into the trees, because this site is in the middle of the jungle. So it's pretty beautiful, and look forward to showing you guys the rest of it. So this arch behind me was the archway to actually lead you down this main road to, like, the main temple area here. When you're walking up towards the archway, I guess it depends on which way you go, because we'll be coming out the other way, but you'll pass numerous smaller buildings. I mean, they're still relatively large, which were houses for some of, I guess, the more elite of the city. But one warning or suggestion if you're coming here: as I said, you're in the middle of the jungle, as you can hear by these loud insects up here. Bring bug spray. I had to run back to my car and grab bug spray for me, my mom, and my sister, because we are getting eaten alive. And I'm kind of glad I did, because when I was exiting, there was one of those things, like coatimundis, those little long-nosed like raccoon things. Super friendly. I think it just wanted food. It thought I had food, so it was coming right up to me. Would have loved to have pet it, but I'm like, no, you're a wild animal. I'll keep away. But it came right up, so cute. I'm now kind of walking at a brisk walk down the last path that I abandoned my mom and my sister on. Hopefully they're doing okay. This walk back to the temple is, I guess you could say, mildly boring, but it's still cool to walk and see the actual ancient Mayan roadway or Mayan street that connected the cities, because they've built new paths which are very nice walking paths to get you from place to place, and I'm sure they're quite similar to the old style of what they would have been before they deteriorated to what they are now. So I'll catch up with you guys again once I get back to wherever this is leading me. The sun is brutal out here, but reach the end of the road and you end up in front of this little house. I think they actually call it the large house, but it's actually quite small. Not much in it, and not much information about what it actually was, so I'm assuming they didn't find much here other than paintings inside, which nowadays is barely visible, if at all. But you are allowed to climb up and peek inside, you just can't actually go inside. So there's another road right when you get to the end that branches off heading towards another area of the city. Maybe that's the main temple, like I thought this was going to be, so we'll see when we get down there. So walking down the second path off to the left of that, the large house or little temple that was back there. And it's just straight through the jungle, which is quite beautiful, but it is very hot and humid and lots of bug bites. But it's kind of cool. There's still like so much remnant of the old actual Mayan roadway. I mean, it's really hard to walk over. It's very, 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 very slippery. It's much more decayed than the main road back there. As we were walking back this beautiful jungle trail, we heard this, I assume it was an insect. And at first it started off, it sounded pretty cool because it was just like a solid, like clicking, knocking sound. But then it progressively built and built and built until it was just a constant like noise. And my sister had joked that it sounded like the emergency broadcast system, but no idea what it was. I could not see anything up in the tree. So if you guys know what is making this noise, let me know in the comments, because I am curious as to if that's some sort of insect or a frog or what, because it is loud. So we're now reaching the end here of this road, and it's coming out into what looks like a handful of other temples, like probably a full plaza. So let's check out what this plaza beholds. So this area here at the end of that path is the, probably pronouncing this wrong, but the Murciélagos and the Roundhouse. Roundhouse obviously right there being the round building. This was the residence of the overlord of the city, and eventually that residence was moved to the actual central plaza, or I guess the central plaza of the later portion of the city. I'm actually very amazed. They seem to be letting you actually walk up and around this. So I'm gonna walk up and around it. It does seem quite sturdy, but as you can see, it's a perfectly round building. Even every single level is perfectly round. I don't see any entrances in it though, so it seems like it's just like a round temple. But they call it the round house, which you would assume would have some sort of entrance. Yep, so I walked the circumference and I did not see an entrance to the roundhouse. So I don't know if there was an inside to that. There is an inside to the Murciélago, but from what I could see, because they kind of fence it off to not let you in, didn't really see anything inside. It's very dark, no light or anything, and I try to avoid using flash or stuff like that because don't want to deteriorate paint even worse than it is. When you come back here, there are numerous like trails, I guess you can call, into the jungle that if you have the time and you really want to explore, there might be some other very covered up, unexcavated ruins out those ways. But we aren't venturing that deep into the jungles because it seems like the bugs don't care if you bug spray or not; they still get you. So I think after this final circuit of this building, these structures here, we're gonna head on the next trail. I think this city is kind of set up as a circle, so it doesn't matter which way you begin going, you can walk the kind of whole city in a circle. So I don't think the major big tour groups actually come out to these smaller temples. So if you want to get away from the massive tour groups, these are where to come. So I'll see you when we get to our next little pocket of ruins. Well, I think we've come upon the main plaza, which it would be closer if you don't want to walk to those little tiny temples we walked through the jungle. This is much closer to the entrance than those temples, just turning left instead of right like we did. This temple right behind me is sort of being engulfed by a tree, and it looks absolutely incredible. This heavily reconstructed building here, you can tell it's very heavily reconstructed, is the mural structure, because apparently it had murals all over it, but judging by the looks right now, it doesn't anymore. So I think the building of the structure to cover them and protect them was just a little too late. But that tree in the back engulfing this temple looks awesome. Like that's like a Tupram kind of thing. Or the main El Castiel in El Meco was like that. It had a tree engulfing it. And they actually built the structure to allow the tree to still continue up out of the top. So I like that they do that rather than trying to destroy it, trying to cut the tree down, let it keep living and build around it. That's how we should do it. So it's actually extremely brutally hot right now. I think it's approaching 100 degrees today and pretty much 100% humidity. So it's so uncomfortably hot right now. And when there's no clouds in the sky, the sun, you can feel it just cooking you. So we are starting to head towards the entrance. I will continue to get shots as we're walking out. I definitely would recommend this stop if you're coming on Cozumel and you're into ruins. Obviously, most people who are coming to Cozumel are coming for beaches and snorkeling and things like that, which would be cool to do, but we're gonna start heading back. Glad we made this stop here and hoping it's a little cooler tomorrow when we go to Costa Maya and the ruins of Chachaban. But Chachaban it's much more like Chichen Itza or Ekbalam or any of those major Mayan cities you see throughout the Yucatan, versus this, which is much smaller structures, smaller temples, really only 1 or 2 stories high. No real main El Castiel pyramids here, at least that I've encountered. And I feel like we've kind of walked the circuit around most of the site. And I think we're actually coming up the entrance right now. Yeah, we are. So yeah, the paths are a perfect circle. So it's pretty easy to not get lost here unless maybe you wander down those jungle paths. So I will see you guys, I think, tomorrow at Chachaban. So happy exploring, and if you've watched all this so far and you haven't already, hit the like button down below, subscribe, and I'll see you guys at some more ruins. You're cute. You're cute up there.
Like if humanity doesn't die out soon, that this will actually be called the age of plastic. Because archaeologically speaking, that is going to be the thing. Like, you know, there's the pottery ages.
Yeah.
Plastic is what they're going to find, and this will be the literal age of plastic. 10, 20,000 years in archaeological days.